Of manifestation, that what you think and feel you become. Whatever you are, you attract that. If I find grateful moment in this life today, right now, even if I wish to experience a lot for the future, but if I'm joyful, if I'm in acceptance of my life, and if you are finding yourself that way, then you are greatly there, ready to manifest.
Personally, meditation did one thing. That one thing was calming the demon in the mind, calming the noise in the mind.
When you visualize it, three things will happen. You are overcoming the time. You are living in the future already what you wanted to. Number two, what is your current self? You are overcoming it, what you wanted to do. Third, you are overcoming the environment itself. You are the current limitations, everything it is strike off. You are just visualizing it. You are already having that experience.
Became very much mindful of everything. I started living a happy life, like I would enjoy each day, and I had more of acceptance, surrenderness towards every situation, and I became more compassionate and all stopped all the worries which we have.
Within 2 months of my manifestation thing, like every day I used to enjoy being visualize myself as a head of technology or a head of some tech thing. So it happened within 2 to 3 months. So that's what the miracles.
My sleep pattern has improved, I suppose. I mean, I used to go to bed, but then I never used to get sleep early. For maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I used to keep awake. But now, as soon as I touch the bed, I go to sleep.
I had burning sensation in my legs. Every day when I remove my shoes, I feel very tough. Within the 40-day session, somewhat I don't get that feel now. I feel much comfortable.
My voice used to be very arrogant to people. So I felt that I should become more friendly towards myself also. It is not only with others, it is speaking to myself. So, to myself also should be friendly, so that more of pure intentions and more of beautiful thoughts has to come out from myself, so that I would manifest all the good things for myself and around me.
Yeah, meditation is really helping. I'm able to observe my thoughts, I can say. Instead of getting into the negative thoughts, I'm consciously trying to be positive.
Most of the things that make me a strong person through meditation, and I am spending whole day and disciplined through this program. Know this time I have changed my life and totally transferred.
Meditation made me more concentration and level of thinking and calmness, everything increased, and whatever situation comes, I can adjust for that.
Good morning and good evening, friends and masters. Welcome to the day 25 of Yogam program. Yesterday, we have been learning about emotions regulations, and emotional intelligence. Today, let us continue with the part 2 of emotional intelligence. Welcome, Sagar sir. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Nagendra. Namaste, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my dear friends. Welcome back to another day of Yogam, becoming one with ourselves. And in this week, one of the topics that we are covering is about emotional intelligence. Yesterday, we had a brief intro about emotional intelligence and also covered 3 pillars of emotional intelligence. If anybody remembers those, you can recollect those. So the 3 pillars are, I don't know if chat is open and people can chat right now or later. If you recollect the 3 pillars, what are the 3 pillars that we learned yesterday? One sec, I don't see the messages. Yes, very good. Self-awareness. What are the other 2 pillars we learned yesterday? Self-expression, wonderful. And inspiration, very good. Super, you're all attentive in yesterday's class. Thank you. So self-awareness, self-expression, and inspiration is what we covered yesterday. And self-awareness, we learned, isn't about knowing your emotions. It's about observing them, right? It's that shift that happens when you are moving from being unconscious of your emotions, not aware of your emotions, and when you're speaking, observing them. That is when that action, that the journey moves from reaction to response. And in fact, every day we practice that during meditation. The meditation session that we are having every day, the practice of it also teaches some of the skills that are needed for us to become emotionally intelligent. Every time you sit in meditation, what happens? When you notice a shift in awareness, you're bringing your attention back to your breathing. You're bringing your attention back to your heart, right? So, and then sometimes you feel very restless. Sometimes you feel, why do I need to sit for meditation? So all these things, you get over that and sit. So meditation teaches us that thoughts, feelings, and reactions are temporary. We don't need to become identified with it. Once we start not getting identified with our emotions, then we start expressing ourselves more authentically. Authentic self-expression isn't about controlling emotions. It's not about subduing emotions. It's about observing, managing, and letting go of the emotions. The key point here is nobody told us there will not be negative emotions or bad emotions. And nobody told us we'll always be in a blissful state. Nobody told us we always be in a positive state. There will be issues, there will be pains, there will be tantrums from your kids, there will be nagging from our parents, there will be issues with our spouse, there will be things that we are not comfortable with our peers, with our colleagues. All that will continue to happen. That's the nature of life. That's the game we are all playing. But not becoming identified with a harsh comment that your mind has termed harsh, is very important for us to progress. Very important for us to do what we are here to do. So authentic self-expression is not about controlling emotions or being nice, right? It's finding the balance in how you respond. Right? There were situations where you need to respond in an angry manner, but the anger will not come from the heart. The anger will come in your words, right? Because that is essential there. And there will be a time where you'll be wonderfully grateful, right? So there, though the great gratitude might come from the heart, we need to express it. We need to be authentic. Then there are a lot of ideas that keep coming to us. We need to be expressing those ideas. We need to be communicating those ideas for our growth and as well as for the growth of the people around us. So in meditation, as all of you know, we also do this heart elevation, right? Heart coherence meditation. So what happens is we think about a good incident or a good comment or a good person. So we send out energies, right? we elevate our emotions through bringing that incident. So immediately what happens is during meditation, we practice that every day, right? So as we continue to do that, your body, your psyche, your mind becomes attuned to that kind of emotional state. So the next time you see a situation, it will be very minor situation, but you will feel grateful, you will feel thankful, you will feel happy about it, compared to something that you were not even recognizing when we are not in an aware state. So that is the beauty of art elevation, and it automatically happens. You don't need to cognitively think, right? And old patterns also slowly start disappearing, as we learned yesterday through meditation. Today again we'll talk about how mindfulness, how meditation develops mindfulness, and as mindfulness continues to progress, advanced stages of mindfulness, things happen magically. We'll talk about it when we get to the core part of the class. The third thing, as we continue to express ourselves, as we continue to communicate, as we continue to be present in those difficult conversations without getting affected, then slowly we start enjoying every moment of what we are doing. Whatever we be doing, we begin enjoying whatever we are doing. And then we become a first inspiration to ourselves. Inspiration, we get that inspiration from inside us. We don't look for inspiration from the type of job we are doing, the type of title we are having, from the type of outcome or results, whether it is fame, income, position, whatever is going to happen. We don't look for joy from those external stuff. So we look at it from inspiration, from inner world, right? It's about bringing love to whatever work you do. This is the shift we saw, right? This inspiration is about moving from do what you love to love whatever you are doing. And again, in meditation, we practice that. So initially, some of us, when we began, and some of you beginners might have seen, initially when you start, keep saying, observe your breath, observe your breath. And sometimes you might feel, what is there to observe? The breath is so boring. The breath continues to happen every moment. What is there to observe? There's nothing interesting about the breath. A lot of us, when we started meditation, we didn't like sitting in meditation. But as we continued the practice, we saw the sense of joy coming from inside. And then it doesn't really matter whether it was a boring breath or those harmful thought or that blissful feeling. We sat, we continued to practice, and we are on day 25 in this session, and some of you probably have been doing it for several sessions. Right? Through practice, we discover there's nothing like good and bad outside there. The good and bad is all inside our mind, inside our psyche. So meditation teaches us that our inner state creates our outer experiences. You will be getting into situations, same old damn situations, same old people who caused you hurt, caused you pain earlier, or you felt pain. I mean, they don't cause. So you felt the pain, you felt that unpleasant state, right? And whereas the same situation now, the same person now, it wouldn't cause that certain kind of feeling for you right now. And we saw that emotion loop yesterday. The earlier we catch an emotion arising, the better we are able to respond. So that's the beauty of that emotion loop, which is found by Gautam Buddha several thousand years ago. And then we quickly covered the science behind meditation, emotional intelligence. What happens in meditation? Our amygdala, our fear center, the subconscious, the limbic brain shrinks and becomes less active. Slowly that fear, the craving, the noise of the mind starts coming down, which is when the prefrontal cortex starts getting more energy. It comes into the whole response loop, and we start responding consciously rather than reacting from our old patterns. And the neural pathways for emotional regulation also get improved. And then as we are in that state, the reason we feel good, like probably would have been covered in one of the earlier sessions, happy hormones start flooding our body, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. So we feel good about what we are doing, whatever we are doing. So that's the beauty about meditation. And I would like to end this intro with one quick quote from, story from, attributed to Gautam Buddha. Buddha says, it's called the two arrows. Some of you might have heard. So Buddha says, anytime there is an incident that is happening to us, there are always two arrows. It's as good as two arrows are being shot, though there is only one arrow. The first arrow is the actual incident. Someone is criticizing you in a meeting, or you are not happy with a type of food, or something is annoying you, right? So that is the first. That's the physical pain the first arrow causes. In some cases, it could be the mental pain, like someone utters a statement, right? So, and then unwise people who are unable to manage their emotions, have a second arrow, which is not short, but they look at it coming to them, which is the mental story our mind creates around the first arrow. Let's say someone in a meeting passed a comment on you saying, hey, that doesn't work. Someone tells me, Sai, that doesn't work. What bullshit are you talking? Right? So immediately I'm taken aback. That is the first arrow. Immediately I'm taken aback. I'm shocked. I did so much of study, so much of survey, but still someone is talking like this. What kind of rubbish is he, right? So, and then when the moment I am aware, I probably stop, and then I slowly recoup my awareness and see how I can respond. So people who are emotionally intelligent, people who are been meditating for a long time with their amygdala silencing and all that, stop at there. Whereas there are other situations where in that situation, the second arrow is about the story that our mind says, hey, Sai, you didn't prepare well. See, even yesterday, he passed the same comment. He wants to make you feel low in front of the boss, right? So all those mental story, and then you can somebody say, oh, I'm not good enough for this. When I was preparing for the presentation itself, I didn't feel good about it. Or something happened. See, I told you, the mind will tell all those stories. That's the second arrow. Buddha says wise people who go through meditation, emotionally wise people, emotionally intelligent people, they prevent the second arrow from hitting them by being aware and cutting off the reactionary second arrow. So wonderful. So that is what meditation allows us to do, that bottom up or subconsciously, while it also allows more energy, more time to our conscious brain, conscious mind to respond positively, respond appropriately. That's what Buddha says. All right. So with that, we will dive into today's practice of meditation, my dear friends, and we'll come back and then cover the remaining parts of remaining two pillars, and we'll also see what a couple of masters have talked about, how emotions get managed or purified during meditation, the mindfulness that's caused through meditation. All right, so let's begin. Then we can get started with meditation. So you all know the procedure, the process, the posture. For those of you who are new, so the posture is, as you see in the picture, sit comfortably. If you're sitting on a chair, cross your feet at your ankle, clasp your fingers into fingers, allow your hands to rest on your lap, and start observing your breath, just your natural breath. And whenever you get distracted from your normal natural breathing through thoughts, through other external noises, all you need to do is bring your attention back to your breathing. No change in your inhalation or exhalation. As you continue to be with your breath, you'll feel your mind becoming empty, your body becoming lighter, right? And then that emptiness, just be in that emptiness, and it does all the things that neuroscience talks about to our brain and body. And as always, we will begin with the heart elevation. As I said, we are going to this emotional intelligence piece. Heart elevation is a key piece where it elevates your mind and body to a state that allows you to meditate, be into those depths of meditation much better and much deeper. All right, so let's begin.
dear friends, dear masters, with specs removed, eyes closed, with your hands over your chest area, and resting your attention on your loving heart. Take a slow, relaxing breath and feel your heart center. Feel the seed of all emotions, nurturing all life. With its energies of compassion, kindness, gratitude. Can you recollect an experience from your past, or simply imagine yourself experiencing something that moves you into a higher emotion? Touch a flower, hug a tree, play with a child. Serving and helping somebody who is in need. Whatever that may be, dear friend, that moves you into a higher emotion, imagine and feel that energy. The more you experience this energy of love, of joy, the more coherent you become. The more you go into acceptance of things. The more connected you become. And allow yourself to direct this energy onto everything and everyone on this planet to help them heal. Where your attention goes, there the energy flows. relive that moment and radiate that energy. And slowly, let's go into breath-mindfulness meditation. With your fingers into fingers, hands comfortably rested in your lap. Observe your normal, natural in-breath and the out-breath. We are going into powerful group meditation. So, your normal, natural in-breath and the out-breath, dear friends. When you observe your breath, the mind becomes less and less of thought. You experience greater calmness inside of you, all around you. Become aware of the emptiness inside of you, all around you, as you merge into your breath. emptiness is energy. This is the quantum field of energy, the field of limitless possibilities. The longer you stay aware of this emptiness and energy, the more the longer you stay aware of this emptiness, this energy, the more focused you become, the more coherent you become. If you find yourself distracted in thought, go back to observing your breath. Merge into the emptiness of yourself. This is your divine self. The longer you stay aware, This is your divine self, this greater mind. Everybody and everything is connected in this field of energy. The more you stay aware of this emptiness, nothingness, emerging to this energy, the more connected you become. The more one you become. Friends, it's truly an honor and privilege to be experiencing this life at this time of history. Can you express gratitude? To all things and everyone. Gratitude to your parents, teachers, mentors, to your family, friends, colleagues. gratitude to everything you use, the technology, the system, the company, the governments, and to this grand nature, the bird, the fish, and the animals. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. Recollect your experiences from the session. And whenever you're ready, keep your hands on your eyes for 5 seconds. And then open your eyes.
Wonderful, my dear friends. Hope it was relaxing, blissful, and awareness building meditation for all of you, like it was for me. Before we move into the masterclass segment, let's listen to any announcements that we might have. Yes, Nagendra.
So we have one announcement today. So we have in-person meditation program conducted by Chandra sir in United States of America. He's doing program across several cities across USA. The detailed flyer will be sent to Yogam meditation groups. Please send this information to your friends, family, and colleagues who are in the United States, and make use of this program. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. So Chandra sir and Vani madam are doing a lot of sessions in the US. So please do send information about that to anyone, any of your friends, family who can go join them, join those sessions. And I think it's planned out for the next couple of months. So the schedule should be available. And so that people can plan ahead and go travel and participate in those one-day sessions. And I think there is a AMR happening, Advanced Meditation Retreat happening, as well as the RCML happening in St. Louis. All right, so Let's get back to part 2 of our emotional intelligence journey. And we just saw, today we explored the 3 pillars: self-awareness, self-expression, and inspiration. Today, we'll dive into 2 more pillars. Let me just share the screen. Yeah, I hope you're able to see the screen.
Yes.
So today, we will see, yesterday we talked about how the first part of emotional intelligence was more about ourselves, the way we become aware of our emotions, the way we respond, the way we express authentically, and the way we become inspired by whatever we do. Right? So that's about and then once we are in that particular state, once we are in that elevated state, able to manage emotions for ourselves, we move away from what's in it for me to what's in it for others. Right? So empathy represents the most important, significant shift in emotional intelligence. This is not about, when we say what's in it for others, it's not about sacrificing yourself or becoming selfless. It's just like expanding your circle of care, expanding your awareness, discovering that serving others serves you at the highest level. We'll talk about emotions, levels of energy as well in a minute. But empathy is that state where you start feeling, you start caring, start thinking about others. The science behind empathy is pretty simple. Again, some of you may have heard about it. There are certain brain cells which are termed mirror neurons by neuroscientists. So mirror neurons fire when we act while observing others. So for example, there may be situations where someone becomes too emotional and starts crying, and then you feel a sense of that emotion and start having tears in your eyes when we are young. Similarly, someone might be a bit nervous. You will be able to sense that nervousness. Similarly, someone is so joyful, someone so happy, grateful, you'll also feel an elevated sense of energy, right? So because everything is energy, the other person, whenever he's emitting an emotion, whenever he's in an emotional state, there is energy that's being emitted, and then our body is the mirror neurons try to mirror that. Again, it can happen. The paradoxical part is, though mirror neurons allow you to, it will also make you feel bad if the other person is feeling bad. There are other people who emit so deep negative energies. They start grieving. They start believing that nothing in the world can help me. I'm so helpless. Sometimes that helplessness also rubs into you if you're not conscious or if you're not aware. Right? So that is mirror neurons. And the way we develop empathy is nothing but sensing, feeling for the other person. And meditation increases mirror neuron sensitivity by around 35% according to research. And when we are empathetic, research shows empathetic leaders have teams that have very productive. People don't, like they say, right? People don't leave an organization, they leave a manager or a leader. So empathetic teams perform much well because everybody is able to sense. You can see that in a meeting, you can see that in a collaborating group of people. We see that when there is an event and everybody is working together, collaborating together, even volunteers, right? So automatically we sense the other person is feeling different, is feeling at a low energy. The other person comes and pulls it up and says, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. So things like that, right? So this also helps us in our everyday conversation, right? To understand why those a person might be verbally communicating something. These mirror neurons allow us to find the underlying reason for why that person is complaining. For example, at work, someone might be dealing with an angry customer, saying that the angry customer said, I have not got the products on time, or there is a billing error, or someone said they will meet me and solve this problem for me. They've not come here, right? And it's very, very natural for the customer to kind of shout back at a vendor. But then the vendor person or the salesperson or the customer service person cannot again act up and then respond or react in a manner. No, we sent that person, but you are not available, or we made a phone call, you're not available, right? So that's where empathy helps, right? Understanding why the person is responding that way, and then I understand your thoughts, I understand your feelings, but here is what happened, right? So all that happens because you're able to relate to why someone is doing something. So there are 3 or 4 levels of empathy development. So cognitive, you can understand others at an intellectual level, right? Some leader, some parent, for example, when you're interacting with your kids' friends. So as parent, you're able to empathize certain things because of certain responsibilities, or as a teacher, as a worker. So cognitive empathy is about understanding others' thoughts intellectually. Emotional empathy is actually feeling what others feel. And there is a level called compassionate empathy, which is about being moved to help appropriately. Again, the question is appropriate. A lot of times we tend to be moved by certain things, but we don't need to do something in that particular situations, right? Being moved to help appropriately, not going and doing someone else's work just because someone is not feeling well or not feeling good about something, right? It's about giving them the right, sit still, observe your breath, get over that particular situation, and then get it to the work, right? Or clearing some confusion for somebody. Compassionate empathy comes without the other person even asking for something. And then spiritual empathy is about recognizing the divine essence, recognizing the divinity in each one of us, in everyone. At the moment you see the other person as a God, then you feel a sense of oneness. So that's more around the spiritual empathy, right? And the transformations that happen as we become more empathetic, as we start relating to a lot of others, the moment we feel that sense of oneness is one of the big things that Patriji keeps talking about, is no complaints, no judgments. You stop having complaints about everything. You stop judging people, stop judging situation. Again, that all happens as a automatic, behavioral transformation or mental transformation as we continue the practice of meditation. You stop seeing others as problems to solve. So no judgments, no complaints, work both ways. One is through the practice of meditation, those complaints and judgments, those irritations that we think other people cause us, slowly die down. The second thing is we consciously start practicing no complaints, no judgments. Because one of the things about mindfulness is not judging things, non-judgment. We start practicing that with our meditation, right? Thoughts keep coming, distractions keep coming, we don't judge them. That's one of the core part of meditation, mindfulness meditation, right? We don't do judgments. So no complaints, no judgments. Slowly our energy also starts getting conserved as we stop complaining, as we stop judging things. Things are happening for a reason, right? If you're able to relate to it cognitively, go do something about it. as they say, right? If there is something that you can do to change a particular situation, go ahead and do it. If you're unable to change the situation, the only way is to accept it. If you're not able to change, if you're not able to accept, then remove yourself from the situation. Right? So that's another common thing that a lot of masters have spoke about in their books. The next transformation that happens is we start looking at failures as a learning path, not just our own failures, other people's failures also. For example, if my team is unable to meet a release at work, then obviously it's not their failure alone. It's a failure of the system that we have at work. Similarly, if my daughter or if our children are not doing something that they're supposed to do, it's not their own failure. It's also there is a failure on the parent's part or the family part, depending on the situation. So we look at failures as learning paths. Like we all know, as we've seen in spiritual quotient, a soul incarnates to go through certain experiences. And all the soul is concerned about what is it learning? How is it transforming? Right? And you learn, you transform through the learnings. And the last key point that empathy brings us is we gain the trust and confidence of people around us. People feel safe and heard around you. Earlier, when we are emotionally reacting, people might say, oh, this guy always keeps reacting that way, always keeps nagging, always keeps finding fault with other people, always keeps complaining about situations. They don't even mind. But the moment we start empathizing, the moment we start either cognitive empathy or emotional or compassionate or spiritual, the moment we start doing it, our behavior changes and people feel a sense of oneness. People start reciprocating. People feel that they can confide in you. People feel safe. And that's what we practice during heart elevation meditation, right? So exactly that empathy. When we send out those loving, compassionate energies to everyone around us, so that's automatically the neural pathways get built every time you think about others. And again, the empathy is one thing, but then there is the other aspect of other dimension of thinking about others. I know we've all been through COVID. I've seen people in my family also thinking too much about others' welfare to the extent that they start worrying. That's the other extreme, right? So empathy, the moment you start feeling with that meditative awareness, then it doesn't become that worrying about others. So you need to be in balance, like we saw yesterday. So empathy is one big element, that one big muscle in our emotional arsenal that gets enhanced through the practice of meditation. So the next pillar is about leading and engaging. When empathy develops fully, as we saw, we saw people start trusting you, people start feeling safe with you, right? People look at you as someone different, right? And then you start your leadership abilities, your leadership energy slowly start emanating as well. You naturally begin to lead as your emotional intelligence goes up. People look at you, people trust you, people try to follow you because you are first inspired by what you are doing, and automatically you become an inspiration to others. So you start leading others not through force or position, but through presence, through service, through relating to things about others, through believing in oneness. This is the transformation from following someone, from a follower to a natural leader. Leadership comes within. So that is why we are beginning to have a course around how leadership, specifically targeting leaders, how do we create meditation programs? We're going to roll that out. Right? So mindful leadership, some of you might have heard about it. So it's very essential for people in leadership positions. So true leadership isn't about getting people to follow you. It's about serving something greater. So we've all been in that state. I know I've been in that professionally when I was young, right? As soon as you become a software engineer, within 2-3 years, you start leading teams. I know a lot of people, though I'm not really felt that, a lot of people who just want to get into that manager position so that they have 10 people reporting to them and they can boss over that set of team. But true leadership is not about getting people to follow us. It's that mentality of serving others, serving something greater than yourself, that cause of the corporation, cause of the group, cause of the foundation, right? So that you start doing it like we talk about Patriji, right? Leadership is about leading by example. People should be inspired to follow you rather than you telling them to follow. And there's so many stories, so many successful corporate and spiritual leaders, right? We all look up to. We all look up to not because they told us, you do this, you follow me, right? We follow them. We get inspired by them, inspired their presence, inspired by their actions, inspired by their thoughts, inspired by their presence. So that is true leadership. Leadership happens when we get through these pillars of engaging. Increased listening skills. We talked about mindfulness building up as awareness gets built up, right? So our listening skills increase. We are able to listen with a silent mind rather than with a chatty mind. We are able to listen without judgment, without complaints, right? That increases the efficiency of our listening. Meditative listening or mindful listening is being completely present with the speaker. Very difficult to practice, but the moment you start practicing, that's another type of meditation. As you continue the practice of meditation, our listening accuracy improves, right? We are so attentive. Sometimes we are in the meetings, we are in a conversation, listening physically or probably getting the sound, some sound getting into our ears, but our thoughts, our attention, our awareness is somewhere else. So that's a total waste of energy. We're trying to do two things. The second major transformational thing that happens is one starts taking initiatives, feeling responsibility. Yesterday we saw how self-expression is also a level of self-responsibility, taking accountability, right? A natural sense of responsibility emerges due to the expanded awareness, elevated awareness due to emotional intelligence. We start asking the question, how can I serve? How can I be of help? That's where seva, service, volunteering all help. Again, it doesn't need to be in the context of a spiritual foundation or a spiritual movement. Service can be as simple as working with your children. How can I help? Maybe there's something I can clarify. Maybe I need to spend more time with my children. Similarly, how can I help the emotional state of my spouse, of my parents? Why are they like this? Instead of complaining earlier, why are they like this? Instead of feeling very helpless, we move to a state of responsibility. We move to a state of power. How can I help this situation? First way we can help the situation is not being impacted by those energies. That needs us to be in an elevated state of awareness, right? And then we feel a sense of initiative. What needs to be done here? Not about, oh, I was not able to do this, not feeling bad, right? What needs to be done here, either by me or by somebody. Doesn't matter who does it. But if something is happening, something is moving the needle up, that is what is important, right? And then the third element that we all will start feeling as we kind of get into those elevated sense of awareness and emotional intelligence is about confident expression. We saw that yesterday, self-expression, speaking from wisdom rather than ego or fear, confidence built on service. Again, there is, we call something like spiritual bypassing, right? It's very important for the ego not come and flare up, right? Oh, people are inspired, I'm inspiring people, people are following me. So all those things, we shouldn't allow the ego to come up there. So the confidence should come from a sense of elevated emotion, from a sense of love that we emanate, from a sense of empathy that we emanate, right? So we speak with confidence. We are in presence with a lot more confidence. Confidence built on service, built on empathy rather than superiority, or confidence that comes from position. And we start emanating a natural authority that comes with that authentic expression. We don't even think. Automatically we say if something is wrong, we say with complete confidence, no, that is wrong. That is not the way to do, right? We don't have that sense of fear. Like I keep mentioning that as my meditation journey progressed, in meetings, I was able to confidently express a lot of ideas, which I used to think earlier that stupid, very simple. Why would someone even pay attention to it? Right? It gave me that confidence and courage to put forth those ideas in conversations with my colleagues, in conversation with my boss, in meetings, right? Which was ultimately important or useful for the organization, for the team. And naturally, people start coming back to me for a lot more suggestions. That's exactly what you see, what happens when you start. So our level of engagement, our level of socializing with others improves. And again, this doesn't need to be in the work situation. Same thing with your friends. Your friends start looking up to you. You don't give them gyan on meditation. This is what we do. So the moment they see you a lot more empathetic, the moment they see you, the confidence in you, they start believing, oh, the change has been brought by the practice of meditation. Right? So that's the important part here. So people naturally start engaging with you. Earlier, you might have that sense of fear of how do I approach someone, right? So the level of engagement automatically improves. You might be speaking, you might be talking, you might be interacting the same way, but there will be a shift in the inner energies, both of oneself as well as the others, and it will be perceptible. All right, so that's about engaging. So we become from a follower, we become a natural leader. All right. So my dear friends, so here is what we saw over the last 2 days about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is about how meditation helps these 5 different components of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. It's a beautiful progression. And the transformation happens in these steps. Sometimes it's sequential, sometimes the intensity of it happens across all these 5 pillars or 5 components. Self-awareness is about moving from reaction to response. Meditation gives you that space, that choice, that space for you to respond instead of react. Self-expression is about moving from managing your emotions to responding, to expressing with your whole integral self and holistically, authentic communication. Inspiration is about you'll automatically love whatever you're doing. You don't need to. That itself stops a lot of judgments. That, oh, this is not something I want to do. Why am I doing? You'll start automatically loving because you're in full presence, the complete absorption of what you're doing. There's no question of I love this or not love this, right? So automatically complaint stops, automatically judgment stops. And then once we feel good about ourselves, when we are in that level of emanation, automatically we start empathizing, we feel the oneness, our mirror neurons start kicking in. Once our amygdala silences, our subconscious mind silences, once we start thinking right, and our mirror neurons start mimicking, we are able to feel, we are able to think what others are thinking the right way, right? And then slowly that expands the circle of care, expands people interacting with you. And naturally people start following what you're doing, right? So you become a natural leader, natural leadership through seva, natural leadership through empathy. So this isn't just about becoming emotionally intelligent. What meditation allows us to help through this process of emotional intelligence is about becoming who we truly are, who you truly are, below the layers of all that conditioning, all the programming, all the reactivity that we've been programmed, limiting beliefs, programmed beliefs. So we slowly are removing all those as we continue our meditation, right? So meditation allows you to, I keep saying meditation is the process of unlearning a lot of garbage that we've accumulated. So once we start unlearning that, we become our natural self. Our natural self is exactly these 5 things that you see. We are aware, We are self-expressive. We are authentically express ourselves when we are with our own intelligence. We are our own leader. We don't complain or judge anything as good or bad in terms of working, right? So we feel, if some work comes up your way, it's my duty to do at that particular time. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come to me. Someone would have taken it up, right? And empathizing with people, feeling that sense of oneness. The moment we see all that, we are in full engagement. We are in flow with that particular moment. You can become completely engaged with as simple an activity as cleaning, as gardening, as cleaning your car. So that's what we talk about mindful activity. When we are mindful, we are completely one with that. All right. And there is another perspective of how this is from another master, another book called Mind Illuminated by Kuladasa. He goes into how Anapanasati meditation builds that mindfulness. And as you see on this, our mindfulness progresses as we continue our practice of meditation. And it goes through multiple stages, again, more from a taxonomy perspective, right? So, and you will see that as we continue the practice of meditation, we see the same thing in our ability to manage our emotions or regulate our emotions, right? Like you see, the level 1 is more about responding instead of reacting. That's where self-awareness kicks in. And as we continue the practice of meditation, as we continue the practice, it builds more mindfulness. The level 2 is more about self-expression, right? You get, once the mind becomes calmer, right? You'll start getting that gap between that response, between your trigger and your response. So we are able to respond better. We're able to communicate better. Relationships start building better. So you choose wise responses to triggers rather than reactive responses. And then the beautiful thing about cleansing happens. Automatically our consciousness, our mind, our chitta gets cleansed of all the impurities, impure, unhelpful behaviors, unhelpful fears, cravings, unhelpful knowledge. It automatically disappears in mindfulness meditation. Suddenly one fine day, you would have met a person, you will meet a person who used to trigger a lot of memories, trigger a lot of things earlier, but this suddenly you'll feel that person, nothing will happen to you. Right? Suddenly you will miss something, that you'll not have that craving that, oh, I missed a coffee or missed a particular person, right? So that is when deep memories, thoughts, emotions get purified. We talk about reprogramming subconscious behaviors. No triggers are needed. In level 1 and level 2, when the trigger happens, you'll feel the difference. But in level 3, in deep meditative states, deep mindfulness, things get automatically cleansed. That's a cleansing, emotional cleansing that happens. Deep purification happens, right? And then in stage 4, it reprograms our view of reality. We see things as they are, not through the lens of our emotions, not through the lens of our past programming or beliefs. Once we start seeing things they are, we have become aware of intuitions, we become aware of synchronicities, our awareness levels increases, right? So leadership opportunities naturally come to you. People seek your guidance. You operate from a fundamentally different understanding of reality. New ideas come up, new insights come up. So that's the beauty of cleansing, right? So that's when you start connecting to your inner intelligence. You don't need to do anything, right? So you don't, like I said, when you go to a meeting, when you go to a conversation, you start becoming spontaneous. So over time, seeing Patriji, a lot of us learn to be a lot more spontaneous in meetings. Prior to that, my corporate mind used to say, oh, here are the 10 points I need to speak. Of course, when we come for presentations like this, we prepare and come, but that worry is not there in terms of what will I speak, right? Thankfully, for all the wisdom that we've gathered by reading books, we're able to convey something authentic to people in our presentations. All right, so this is what happens. Again, nothing to need to be done. Continue the practice of meditation. Our mindfulness allows us to help calm our mind, cleanse or purify those unhelpful thoughts, unhelpful emotions. And once those things disappear, once we get into that emptiness, emptiness is the route to our inner intelligence. That's what happens. And lastly, I want to leave with this slide. Again, there are a lot of research done by several neuroscientists and psychologists. Dr. David Hawkins, some of you might have read about a map of consciousness. He talks about consciousness map. So where he's done some research where he's graded the emotions in different levels. Don't worry about the metric. If you read the book, you'll understand why that is. And he's graded the level of consciousness or the level of energy for multiple emotions. And as you can see here clearly, when we are not aware, when we are not in a meditative state, when you are normal, ego-centric, ego-driven self, we operate it at this level. We operate with pride, we operate with anger, with fear, with grief, apathy, right? And that is our low energy emotions, our lower chakras, right? This is where we look at hyperactivity, anxiety, or it could be tamasic, more inertia-driven. I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this, right? And then as we continue our practice of meditation, as our energy levels increase, as we move away from judgment, as we move away from complaining, right? Slowly we start getting the courage and confidence to do what needs to be done at that particular moment. So then we are in this level 1 zone. We are happy, we are productive, we are doing what needs to be done. We move into a sense of empathy, empathetic forgiveness. We have confidence. We develop confidence in our ability. That's the self-expression part. We gain trust on ourselves and other people start trusting us. And then as we continue our practice of meditation, our energy levels start increasing. We develop that empathetic understanding, self-responsibility, right? Accountability. All that continues to happen, which is when we operate at peak performance without stress. So meditation, excellence, when we talk about excellence, what is excellence? Excellence is all about performing at your best without stress. And that's exactly what these L2 and L3 zones are. When we continue the practice of meditation, we start performing at that high topmost level, which is what we want individually. When we say performance, it's not just about work. It's performance in our family, with our relationships, socially, at any non-profit, non-social work that we are doing, with our friends, and of course at work, right? So when we are at that peak performance, we are in that flow state. We are doing what needs to be done. And then universe starts helping us through synchronicities, and extraordinary outcomes start happening. You start manifesting at a higher rate, manifesting bigger things. We've all been through this journey of understanding quantum science, infinite possibilities, right? So all that continue to happen at higher states of mind, at levels of energies due to the emotions of love, gratitude, and joy. We are that. We are love, we are gratitude, we are joy. We know that we used to be that when we were kids, but we started accumulating a lot of baggage and our ego started forming, and then we were all operating from a sense of fear and lack. Now we are on another journey. We are in a school where we're unlearning a lot of things and slowly moving up this whole levels of energy chain. All right. So my dear friends, that's the chart. We are all elevating. When we talk about elevating our energy, it's about that. And again, nothing much to be done. No deep, you don't need to go pour over tons of books. All that we need to do is be with our breath. Continue our practice of meditation. Automatically does. We've been seeing the neuroscience behind it. What happens? We've seen the mindfulness science behind it, right? And automatically you'll see, observe. I'm sure all our experiences, testimonials always reflect that, right? Obviously, things happen at a physical level first, but then what's important is what the real transformation happens when our thinking, feeling, and our behavior changes. That is the level of consciousness that gets transformed. All right. So with that, we bring a close to the chapter or the topic on emotional intelligence. I'm sure Chandra sir will cover a lot more, and others will cover a lot more in the subsequent sessions. So with that, we'll end today's masterclass, and I'm open to taking up any questions or any sharing that any of you have. Today's session, thank you very much for this opportunity of speaking to you and sharing whatever I know. I hope it was helpful. And only suggestion, as we all know, is just the practice, consistent, regular, confident, and curious practice is what ultimately is needed for all these transformations to happen. It will happen, and we've all seen that amongst ourselves and with a lot of others that we see. All right. Thank you and all the best. Have a nice day.
see the greatness in you, and so it is.
Warm greetings, all friends and masters. Hope you had a great session and great meditation. The forum is open for any questions, any clarifications, and sharings. Anyone would like to share? Emotional intelligence. I'm sure most of us can relate to it. Most of us have challenges or have had challenges in controlling certain emotions, not controlling, but that outburst is there and being reactive. And we have seen many a times, many a times, people sharing, participants sharing how after meditation they have moved from being reactive to responding to situations. With me also personally, yes, it has definitely helped a lot. And believe you me, my profession is such wherein I take topics on various soft skills and emotional intelligence. I used to think, no, I'm not going to talk about it because from my heart, I never felt like I should talk about it because I felt I need to be myself emotionally intelligent first. And thanks to meditation and wisdom and increased awareness, now I feel confident to talk about it, to talk about too many others about it, because now I have myself improved a lot in this particular matter. Earlier, I always used to think, no, this is something I'm not going to talk about because it won't come from my heart. I won't be able to. Somewhere, something inside me will tell Neha, when you are not emotionally intelligent, how can you talk about it to others? But as I said, thanks to meditation, lot of changes. Uh, One meditation and multiple benefits. If anyone else has a similar thing to share about, or please come forward. We'll be very happy to hear from you. Or if there are any doubts, please clarify. Would anyone like to share? Has anyone felt post meditation their empathy has improved and they are emotionally more stronger? We are able to handle not just our emotions, right? That is the first step. Definitely, we are able to do that. But also how others are talking, or sometimes others throw stones at you, and how do you respond in that situation? When others are hurling certain things at you, how do we handle that situation? And this is all about, number one, how do I handle myself, my own emotions, and definitely others also. Many a time there are situations in life, in home front or professional front, probably something is not going right in personal front, and when we go to our office and the mood is same, we take that mood there also. And on the other side, something is not right, something has happened on professional front, and we come home and we carry that baggage, and we burst out. So definitely meditation brings that awareness of calming down, settling down, and taking that some time to think, reflect, and then talk. Yes, Bhargavi ji, please unmute yourself. Sai ma'am, could you please unmute Bhargavi ji?
They dropped the hand because of that.
Yes. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Bhargavi ma'am, you're unmuted.
They have some technical, now they, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So how we can react when kids do wrong? How we can, even though if we say good, nice, calming words, but still they continue. So how we can react? How we can show our anger, something like that?
Ma'am, it's a universal question. Most of the parents have this, right? So I will relate it to how I do. So I was very, very reactive with my elder one, right? Initially, very, very reactive. No, 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 you can't do this. Or don't do this. Out of certain concerns, we do it. But being into meditation and reading and understanding wisdom, eventually, I see a difference in how I handled my elder one and how I am handling my younger one. I do not say no, no, and no as much now, number one, because I realized when we are denying them something, more and more, then when actually the need happens, they may not listen because we are for everything saying no, right? For example, kids want to dance out in rain and we think, oh, they'll fall ill, or probably, kids are handling a glass and they're drinking water and it's a glass that which is made up of that it can break off, and we say, oh no, don't do that, handle with care, you are doing this, handle with care. So we are kind of many a times stopping them to do certain things, so then they think every time it is happening like that. So how I handle now when they have to do something, I try to understand from their perspective also. Say, okay, I want to do this, yeah, please go ahead and do, right? So giving them freedom in certain small things, so that if as a parent need be, when we have to say, oh, see, this cannot be done this way, can we go in the other way, right? Then they will listen to us. This is what is working, and they're also happy. And believe you me, now even ask them, what do you suggest? Do you think this will go like this? What is your suggestion in this? In certain things wherein when their suggestion comes, I can apply that also. It may not be for the major decision, for little things in life. What do you think out of this two? Which one is better? Which one should we buy? So, kind of giving them that, I'm not getting the right word probably, making them more inclusive in the decision making also helps a lot. And as Sai sir said yesterday, yes, sometimes as a parent, we have to, it's not always being a nicer thing. Sometimes we have to correct them, but that should not be from heart. It is needed, it goes off, and then again back to normal. So, ma'am, I think one thing that parenting teaches us is patience. Uh, Earlier, when somebody would say, "Oh, they are here to teach you something," I would think, "What? Teach me what?" But now I think lot of learning from my own children that I have to take. Sometimes they will come up and they will speak something, I will be like in awe. Oh my god, how come such a thing is coming from such a young child? So, ma'am, with patience, automatically, eventually also it happens, we may have to put conscious efforts. The concept of learning, doing, and being, which I always say, children are doing something, and for that particular time, I may be, because my old habit is reacting, right? But this time I say, okay, just a moment, take a second, take 2 seconds and think, and then take a conscious effort of not reacting but responding. Eventually, ma'am, children do what we do, but I have understood they don't do what we say, but they do what we do. And I have seen this with my own children, how I am, my good thing, my not so good thing, they automatically imbibe. In fact, there's so much talks about meditation and books around in the house, talk about pyramid. They're even talking such beautiful things these days, my own children. So I just shared relating it to my perspective, and I hope I could answer your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Would anyone else like to ask a question or share how the journey has been? All right, friends, if there is no more questions, no more sharings, then we'll take a pause here and we will meet tomorrow at the same time. Happy meditating. Simon, we can end the meeting here. Sai ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. I'm in the meeting, right? Shall we close the session, right? Yes.
I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you. And so it is. I see the child in